This was an encounter even the matchmaking gods would oppose, a Harvard prodigy and a streetwise troublemaker. They shared a magical evening together in the square, but the girl's father looked down on the boy and forbade them from seeing each other. Yet the wheels of fate had already been set in motion. The girl discovered she was pregnant and intended to secretly keep the child, but her father eventually uncovered her secret. After a heated argument, she stormed out of the house only to be involved in a car accident. When she woke up in the hospital, her father told her that the baby had been lost. Believing him, she promised never to see the poor young man again. But the truth was, the child had not been lost. Instead, the baby boy had been sent to an orphanage by his grandfather. There, the infant waved his tiny hands as if sensing the rhythm and pulse of music. A prodigy was born. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. Sean had become the most famous mad genius in the orphanage. He could hear notes others couldn't perceive, as if born with this extraordinary gift. Whether the music was carried by the wind, the air, or the light, he heard it all clearly. The other children called him a freak, but Sean never fought back. He believed it was his mother calling out to him. Many families applied to adopt him, but he pretended to be difficult and refused them all. Hoping to reunite with his parents someday, he decided to venture alone into the city. After days of traveling, he finally arrived in the bustling metropolis. The jingling of wind chimes, the blare of car horns, the rustle of patterned fabrics, and the beat of drums, all these chaotic sounds transformed into beautiful musical notes in Sean's mind. A symphony began to take shape under his direction. In that moment, even though he was far from his parents and wouldn't recognize them if they met, music created a magical connection. Annie, too, seemed to sense Sean's presence, though the feeling was fleeting, as Sean's concentration was broken by a sudden, urgent melody. He followed the sound to a park, where a boy was busking. Captivated by the unusual instrument, Sean reached out to touch it, but the boy harshly told him to back off. Sean quickly offered what little money he had, earning the boy's trust. Learning that Sean was homeless, the boy brought him to an abandoned concert hall where a group of orphan children lived under the watch of a young hustler named George. George came every day to collect the money the children earned. Those who repeatedly failed to make enough were scolded or even denied food. Yet Sean asked to join them. The place was filled with instruments he had never seen before. When everyone was asleep, he crept over to a guitar. His fingers lightly brushed the strings, and the clear, beautiful sound enchanted him. Emboldened, he strummed again, and a gorgeous melody flowed through the hall. The music woke George and the other children. Amazed, George declared Sean a once-in-a-millennium musical genius and spent the night teaching him the basics of music. He told Sean that notes understand human emotions better than people do. They can bring joy or sorrow, but only those chosen by music can truly command it. In just one night, Sean's understanding of the guitar surpassed that of all the other children. George took him to the park to busk. Though it was Sean's first time performing, the exquisite and unique melody that filled the air sounded otherworldly, quickly drawing a large crowd. He earned more money by himself than all the other children combined. Overjoyed, George gave him a stage name, August, a name destined to resonate throughout the music world. Meanwhile, Annie's father was hospitalized due to illness. On his deathbed, he finally confessed the truth: Sean had not died. Rekindled with maternal love, Annie desperately began searching for her son. But with no clues to his whereabouts, finding him was like looking for a needle in a haystack. She went to the Child Services Bureau, but was told the process would take at least 6 months. With only his birthday to go on, the odds were nearly impossible. Yet she refused to give up. She showed up at the bureau every day without fail. Her persistence moved the director, who decided to bypass the standard procedure and help her search. While the director looked through records, Annie was drawn to a wall of missing person notices. As if guided by an invisible thread, her eyes immediately found Sean's photo. Learning he was her son, she wept with joy. But Sean had already left the orphanary. Determined to find him, Annie decided to pick up her cello again and return to the spotlight, believing that only by raising her profile could she spread awareness of her missing son. As if her had moved heaven, the police soon located where Sean was staying. But George, unwilling to lose his cash cow, lied to Sean, telling him the police were there to take him back to the orphanage. He urged Sean to run away and to only use his stage name from then on. Believing him, Sean fled in panic and eventually took refuge in a church. A young girl singing there found him and, learning he was hiding, let him sleep under her bed that night. The next day, Sean was captivated by the sound of music. He watched as the girl played a strange and beautiful instrument. She taught him a few scales and some basics of sheet music before leaving for school. Left alone, Sean studied the piano scores while listening to the noise from outside. Emotions and ideas flooded his mind. When the girl returned from school, she was astonished. Sean, who had just learned scales that morning, had covered an entire wall with original piano compositions. His talent was beyond belief. Even Mozart would have been humbled. The priest at the church was equally amazed, believing Sean was no ordinary child but an angel sent by heaven. He decided to nurture Sean's gift and enrolled him in the finest music university in the city. The professors were stunned by Sean's ability and placed him in classes with college students. Within a month, while other students were still struggling with the basics, Sean composed a complex rhapsody. After reading it, the dean marveled. The world of genius is truly beyond our understanding. Sean was called into the dean's office. He had expected to be scolded for not concentrating in class, but when the dean asked him to sit down and gave him an opportunity to perform his own piece at the upcoming concert, he was extremely surprised. Sean asked if at least 100 people would show up. The others thought he was boasting, but only Sean himself knew the truth. He hoped that among the crowd, his parents might be there. Inspired, Sean began collecting disjointed sounds from everywhere, weaving them into his music. His passion inspired the orchestra and even caught the attention of a famous New York conductor, who took time each day to mentor him. But just then, George tracked him down at the school and demanded he leave. When Sean refused, George threatened to send him back to the orphanage. Terrified of returning to either the streets or the orphanage, Sean reluctantly followed George back to the bleak park. There, he strummed his guitar helplessly, filled with loss and despair. Yet the bonds of blood work in mysterious ways. Although Charlie didn't know he had a son, he was drawn by Sean's unique guitar playing. He complimented Sean's skill and asked to try the guitar himself. The two, father and son who had never met, sat together sharing music. It became their bridge, building a bond as deep as family. Charlie remarked on Sean's incredible talent, telling him he shouldn't waste it in a place like this. Sadly, Sean shared that he was supposed to play at a concert that night, but things had fallen apart. Charlie encouraged him not to give up and introduced himself as Charlie. After a moment's hesitation, Sean shared his stage name, August. From a distance, George shouted, worried Charlie was trying to steal his prized performer. As they reluctantly said goodbye, Sean watched Charlie walk away, wishing with all his heart that he was his father. Charlie also glanced back. Something about the boy felt strangely familiar.